I'm Jonathan Burns with Tallahassee Nurseries. This is our first installment of an instructional series of videos where we're going to actually show you how to do a couple important things around the yard. We thought the best place to start would be how to put a shrub in the ground. The first step for planting a shrub is to make sure you have the right plant for the right place. Very critical. You want to make sure that the location has the appropriate sun, the right soil type, the right water, wet or dry, for the plant that you want to use. A really good way to handle that is to bring a photo in to us of the whole yard, and we can give you an idea of what kinds of plants would work well in each spot. Now, once you've chosen the right plant and you've got a good spot for it, then the next step is to dig the hole. So here we go. Today we've chosen to plant a very interesting shrub called Tokyo Sunrise Clayera. This is a foliage plant. It doesn't bloom, but the leaves have many different colors throughout the year. Around Christmas it gets red on it. In the spring it has yellow. Really cool plant that we actually have in stock right now. So you don't need to make a real deep hole, but you want to make a wide, shallow hole. I like to put the plant in place and use that as a measure for how to dig it. Now that the outline of the hole is set, we can start digging. In order to break up the soil, I like to dig about half of the depth and chop up the soil as I'm going, spread that around the edges, and then do it again for the second half of the depth. That way, all of your native soil has been broken up well, and when you backfill, there won't be any air pockets. Once the top half of the hole is dug, I like to add my amendments. If you have really rich soil, it's not necessary. But if you have heavy clay soils, you probably want to add something that adds drainage. Our TN mix right here is an excellent choice. If you have sandy soils, I would suggest some composted cow manure or mushroom compost to help hold moisture and add organic material. I'm going to add about half this bag right now to the bottom of the hole, mix it all in, and remove that soil as well. You want to make sure that the root ball, the top of the root ball, is level with the surrounding soil or slightly higher. I like to just go ahead and put the plant in the hole to be 100% sure. Now we're confident that the plant is set at the right height. The next step is to get any fertilizer that we're going to do. At the time of planting, it is a Tallahassee Nursery standard to fertilize. This is the only chance you have to fertilize the roots where they are right now in the soil. From now on, you'll be fertilizing at the surface. Right now, we recommend using Biotone. This is an organic fertilizer. It will not burn your plants, and it has a nice set of micronutrients to get a transplant started. The last thing we're going to do to the plant before we backfill is to do a little bit of root pruning. This can be a scary part, but we think it makes a big difference for the health of the plant as it matures. Root pruning a shrub involves making vertical cuts along the root ball, not very deep. 1 inch is fine. A branch saw like this is a very good way to do it. Just slice in a little ways there, rotate, and do it again. We're going to do about 6 cuts on this root ball. You can use your shovel to scoop the soil back in. Do about half of it in the first shot, and then go ahead and slice that soil. Be careful not to slice into the root ball what you're doing right now is settling the soil and making sure you get rid of any air pockets. Don't be afraid to get down in there and use your hands. Some folks will say to go ahead and step on this soil to push it in. I think that puts too much compaction down, so I just like to spread my hands and use my fingers. Okay. Again, I found it very useful to separate your fingers and just, with a moderate amount of force, push your hand down into the soil. That really settles and closes any air pockets. Now that our plant is all nice and cozy in there, we're gonna go ahead and mulch. People use a lot of different types of mulch. I like pine straw because it's available in our area as a byproduct of the timber industry. I also think it looks good. Whatever type you choose, wood chips, pine bark, pine straw, mulch it 2 to 4 inches thick, put it around the plants, but keep about 4 to 6 inches away from the very base of the plant. If there's too much pushed up against the trunk, it can cause rot. Now that our plant is snugly in its new home, it's time to water. This is critical, especially in Tallahassee. In the summertime, water is very important. You need to water enough to wet the whole root zone. Now, that's really hard to tell since you can't get down in the ground and look at it. The absolute best suggestion, the best way to handle watering is to use a sprinkler. Put out something with straight sides, a tin can, and let the sprinkler run until you have 1/4 to 1/2 of an inch of water. Record how much time that was, and you can just set it for the time in the future. Sprinklers put even water out that slowly soaks into the ground. That is by far your best way to handle it. If you only have one plant though and you want to water by hand, don't just use the hose. That can put a lot of extra pressure on the soil and cause it to run around. Use a dram. We have these in a lot of different sizes and styles here at Tallahassee Nurseries. Put this on the end of your hose and it just has hundreds of holes that turn the spray from the hose into a gentle rain. You'll soak the area slowly for maybe 30 seconds, stop, wait a minute, do it again for 30 seconds. I recommend doing that 4 times for the water to soak in and percolate down. After that, keep up with your watering. In the summer, every 3 days should be sufficient, and when it cools off, you can cut that watering back. But don't forget the water. I hope this helped you all with planting a shrub. It's a simple process, but there's frequently many questions left with it. Don't forget to come in with a picture of your yard for your consultation. We can help you find the right plant for the right place, and I look forward to seeing you again on our next round of instructional videos with Tallahassee Nurseries.